Alrighty, everybody. We're going to wait a few seconds for folks to hop in the Facebook Live, and we're also streaming this live on Twitter. But thank you all for being here tonight. I'm Nick Cartwright. I am a candidate for Congress here in the 2nd District of Arkansas, and it's a good night to talk COVID in schools. I'm glad to be joined by Ashley Simmons, who is a parent and an advocate here tonight, and we're going to let Ashley do most of the talking tonight. I know that we've done one of these before, but what we're really trying to do with these Cartwright conversations on social media is to talk to regular folks here in the 2nd District and around the state that have interesting stories to tell, but really drill down and talk about the issues that matter the most in our communities. And so this will be streamed live here on Facebook and also on Twitter. And it's also on our YouTube channel. It's just Nick Cartwright for Congress if you want to follow us on there. And then we're also on Instagram at ncartwrightar, and then TikTok at Cartwright for Congress. So follow us on all the social media sites, but it is good to have you here, Ashley. I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So my name is Ashley Simmons, and I am the mom of 2 boys. I have an 8-year-old who is higher risk for COVID, and then I have a 6-year-old autistic son. I grew up in Conway, Arkansas, and then left senior year, moved back 2.5 years ago to this crazy experience. So that's a little bit. I'm in school full time. I'm finishing up my strategic public relations and political science degree. So life is crazy.
Yeah, and you've been busy a lot here lately, and we're going to get to that. So, but first, I want to ask you, obviously this has been on everybody's mind, especially folks with kids in school. And so I just want to ask you, so earlier this year, whenever the state legislature passed the ban on mask mandates for local governments and for school districts, how did that make you feel? And then what were you thinking as a parent with young kids, whenever our state government came out and pretty much took local control away from our local governments?
Yeah, so on my end, there was a lot of frustration and anger. It's pretty obvious that most of the people in our legislature at this point are willing to sacrifice our children for politics. And that was really, as a mom, that was disappointing and just disheartening. I like to believe that people care about other people. And that really struck a chord with me with a child who's higher risk. It was just like, do you guys even understand that if my child catches COVID, and he's a normal boy otherwise, but he's just higher risk for catching pneumonia or developing pneumonia with COVID. And so when you hear people like, oh, well, it's just pre-existing conditions, people, I'm just like, well, okay, but think about that. Like, those are people. Those are people's lives and children's lives. It doesn't matter if they have a pre-existing condition or not. So there was just a lot of frustration, uncertainty about what was going to happen. I know that our cases were going down at the time, but I also know that we were well aware that Delta was a thing but it just wasn't here yet. And so it was a lot of negative emotions for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there are a lot of parents, and from what we've seen, I think at local school board meetings and just social media and people speaking out, that people are feeling the same way. And, here a couple of weeks ago, the governor said that he regretted signing that bill. It boggles my mind that, he would sign something that he I guess wasn't for, or isn't for now. But how did it feel whenever he, pretty much came out and said that he regretted that?
Everybody so far that's interviewed me has asked this question. So I have a mixed bag of emotions regarding ASA at this point. I feel like it's a little too late to go back because the damage is done. I'm super supportive. I've heard his comments in support of the ruling that Judge Fox, put the stay on the law, that he's been supportive of our lawsuit. So I do recognize that, I do commend that, but it just feels like it's a little bit too late. Like I said, I understand cases were going down, but it is so important for our politicians to have integrity and not bend to the political pressure of the extremists in the area. And I felt like that's what he was doing at that time. And yeah, so that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And really, this shouldn't be an issue that is politicized or polarizing. It's basic public health. So,
yeah.
Well, so you and some other parents have decided to take some legal action when it comes to the law that was passed, and there's been a lot of news about that lately. So, can you just tell us like why you and the other parents decided to do that?
Right. So, like I said, I've been watching this since it started, basically when they signed the bill into law. And I just kept trying to figure out, okay, what can we do? Because I felt like there was more we could do. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if we had legal standing. I didn't know, but I just felt like there had to be more that we could do to fight this. And it did not feel right to just accept it and just send our kids into school with zero protections. That just felt, I don't know, irresponsible. Like, these are our kids. And so I was really thankful when I was able to connect with Veronica, and we connected with Tom. And after talking to them about it, I felt really confident that we could fight this and win. The fact is that kids should always go above politics. And that's what we're here to do, is just put kids above politics. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And thank God y'all did, because, we saw that when the governor called the legislature back into a special session, that they still couldn't do the right thing and repeal or even amend that law. So, if it wasn't for you and Veronica and everybody that's been speaking up, our schools would not be able to do what some of them are doing now. I think we're up to over 70 districts in the state. I don't know the exact number, but it's over 70 that have implemented some form of a mask mandate. And I think that covers over half of the student population overall. So that's good. Hope, every school should be doing this. I think we're going to start seeing numbers coming out after this first week. So how is school going so far for your kids? Are the kids wearing masks, or is there pressure? Is there like peer pressure going on? How's that going for them?
I haven't heard of any peer pressure. The way our school has done it, we're in the Little Rock School District. The way our school has done it is that you wear masks the entire time unless you're eating and drinking or you're outdoors playing. And I'm comfortable with that. I mean, I know that transmission can still happen anywhere, but I feel like in fresh air, it's probably not likely. So that was something I was comfortable with. That's our after school conversation every day. Is the second the kids get in the car, I'm like, all right, how was your day? Did you wear your mask the whole day? Did your friends wear their mask? And they've just been like, yes, we wore our masks. Our friends wore our masks. Our teachers wore our masks. We did find out about, there was a little bit of some stuff happening in the background with one employee, but they're taking care of that. And it's one of those things where I'm just staying on top of them. I'm reminding them, this is to keep you safe. I know it's not fun. I don't like wearing a mask either, but we just got to make it till we can get vaccinated. So that's just been our main focus, is wear your mask, make good choices, be safe. And it just sounds like it's just another part of their day. They don't like it, but no one does. So, but they're doing it, they're doing it, and they're not taking their masks off in class. They're not. So it sounds like it's pretty well under control at our school, at least. So,
well, that's great. That's great to hear. And it sounds like the kids are handling it a lot better than adults are when it comes to wearing masks all the time. So, can you give us an update on where the case is? I believe there's a court date set, and kind of what the next steps are related to that, and then after that court date.
Yeah. So I don't really know much yet. I was out of town for a week and a half last week, so I'm still playing catch up. But what I do know is that we have court scheduled the week of Thanksgiving. Thank God it's the week of Thanksgiving break. I don't think I could handle it while I'm in school. So court, we have 3 days scheduled, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that week. I had heard rumblings that Leslie Rutledge said she was filing an appeal, which we expected to happen. So, I mean, that's really all we know at this point. I don't think there's going to be much of an update until that court hearing, and then we'll know more. Hopefully we'll have like a solidified ruling at the end of those 3 days. So.
Great. Well, everybody be looking out for that in late November around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And the last question I have is, obviously we're a campaign for Congress. There are a lot of candidates that have announced on both sides. What can campaigns like us, and then what can regular people do just in general to be helping students and to be helping your case?
Yeah. So I think it's really important. I think we need to focus on the real life consequences of not taking the time to vote. I think beyond continuing to push getting vaccinated, wearing our masks, being responsible, we really need to focus on getting voters to the polls. Our state, I don't believe our state's a red state. I think it's a non-voting state. And it's going to take candidates that inspire real change to do that. But the reality is that the law wouldn't have passed if there wasn't a supermajority. And so that is the biggest thing that we have to focus on. We need authentic people running in every single race. We need, every legislative seat will be up for re-election next year. So I think this is an election that will specifically impact our state for generations to come. And I think it's incredibly important that people recognize that. Because honestly, I feel like it's time for real change and real progress in Arkansas. Our kids are our future, and it's up to us to protect them now and their futures. It's so important. I feel like this is make it or break it at this point, and people need to realize, and I think people are starting to realize like how much local elections really do impact our day-to-day life, especially in a situation like this. So
Right. I couldn't agree more. It doesn't get more closer to your everyday life than local government. I was a city council member for several years, and that's where the rubber meets the road. And so I hope folks will organize, they'll attend school board meetings. And if you've never thought about running for office, think about it. Ashley, I hope you'll run for office potentially someday. That'd be great.
Eventually.
Well, thank you so much for hopping on and just talking about this issue. We're going to keep doing conversations like this. We'd love to have you back on maybe after that court case or later on down the road, and then maybe just talk some other issues. So before we hop off, I just want to urge everybody, please get vaccinated if you can. It's so important to protect not only yourself, but your family, your kids, and the folks in your community. Please get vaccinated, wear a mask when possible, follow the CDC guidelines. And social distance when you can. I think life's going to be different no matter what. I don't really know if there is going to be an after COVID, but we're all in this together, and it's going to take all of us working hand in hand to get through this and to make things better. So thank you all for being with us tonight, and I hope to talk to y'all soon.
Thank you so much.